How's it going, everyone? The White YouTuber here. Let's find out if Western women still need feminism. Take it away, Liberosity.
If you find yourself using the plight of women in foreign countries as a bludgeoning tool against the comparatively hyper-privileged women of America, you should be flat out ashamed and embarrassed. Does domestic violence not happen here? Does rape not happen in the US or something now? Using women of the global community to try and silence American women and make them feel guilty for exercising their First Amendment right of free speech is absurd at best and embarrassing at worst. You don't have to cross an ocean or a continental barrier to find examples of women who don't have the resources. Yeah, sweetie, I'm pretty sure no one is denying that rapes and domestic violence don't happen in the US. It's just that those issues, you don't need feminism for them because they happen to both sexes. And when people are using the same word, oppression, to mean both their husbands are legally allowed to rape them in their home country, and also their sex's deodorant is $1 more than the other sex's, I think I have the right to call them out on their bullshit.
The funny fact of pointing out rape in America is really comical because we have court systems that handle this. We don't need to have a movement for something that already exists.
You were told America's the land of opportunity, but guess what? For far too many women inside this country now, the opportunities they can take advantage of are severely limited. No, you won't sit here and make women feel bad for coming together by pretending to give a damn about women who experience the same kinds of things women in Appalachia, rural communities, religious sects in random parts of the country, suburbs, and inner cities do. Reading this, I can tell that there is certainly parts of this quote that are very, very vital to this, because this just makes no fucking sense, and just sounds retarded grammatically. First off, what opportunities in America do women not have that men do? Last I checked, there are more homeless men in the US than women, so if anyone's doesn't have the opportunities that other people do, I'm pretty sure it's those guys. And as for the second part, who in their right mind says that being catcalled is comparable to being flogged for not wearing some stupid headscarf or being married off to your uncle at age 14.
He catcalled me! Rape! Rape!
I was moved by the women's marches around the country and world, and I was glad to see that they were all peaceful and that there were no arrests. You know why there were no arrests? Because PR-wise, it was a march that would be attended mostly by white women. And in a world that doesn't protect women much, when it chooses to, it's a white woman it protects. If the marches were mostly black and brown women, police would be emboldened to break them up, throw tear gas into the crowds, and be physical. How do we know? The BLM protests and marches, where the only thing people had on them were their bodies, and those were considered weapons. Ferguson, Baltimore, Chicago, militarized police always showed up. Look at the Standing Rock. White women and white bodies can hold space on streets and shut down cities peacefully because they are allowed to. Black and brown people who march are assaulted by cops, and in Trump's law and order administration, this will only get worse. Remember that you as a white person are walking in a body of privilege. You didn't show up before, but you can show up now. Now, when the next retarded martyr case shows up, you better come out. We will need you to show up again and again in these numbers.
Who the fuck wrote this shit? Black and brown people are not fucking beat up and assaulted by the cops. They're arrested by the cops if they're doing something criminal. Also, white people are arrested by the cops if they're doing something criminal. And I've seen many, many protests where the people got violent who are white and the police go, let's arrest this motherfucker.
Yeah, I know that was a lot to take in, but I just wanted to say the whole thing just to amplify how retarded it is, but so I'll keep this short. Basically, what the fuck does this have to do with feminism in the Western world? How is this going to convince me? A long story short, it doesn't. This doesn't have anything to do with feminism. Go to a racial blog and go write some piece about how whites are just the worst ever. I have one I think you might enjoy. Mainstream feminism. How unnecessarily grand its gestures tend to be, and its hollow solidarity. Well shit guys, we have an actual smart one on our hands. At least, I think so, if I'm interpreting this tweet right. It's hard to fit an accurate message in only 140 characters. Either way, it's nice to see one of these quotes that isn't saying the entirety of Group X isn't doing enough to help Group Y, so I give it some positive points for that. White woman elected Trump. White woman, let's get familiar with feeling uncomfortable. Black, brown, trans, and queer women have been doing this for far longer and at far greater peril. We are the ones new to this. Black people commit the most crimes. Black people, let's get familiar with going to jail. Not the best of analogies, but I hope it hammers in how fucking retarded this is. And as for white people voting for Trump, I'll have you know that the majority of Cubans, such as myself, the majority of them voted for Trump also, but Cubans aren't real Hispanics. They're just gringos to the true beauty of the tan race. The majority of them are just pale-skinned bastards anyway.
Yeah, Cubans don't count as real brown people. Well, for this report at least.
2003, the European Commission started keeping a database to monitor the members of men and women in key decision-making positions in Europe. The statistics show that only 4% of executive-level positions in the largest publicly listed companies in the EU are held by women. Things aren't much better in politics, where only 22.6% of sitting parliamentary, whatever the fuck that word is, in Europe are female. Not to mention the fact that on average, men are paid 16% more than women for doing the exact same job. Well, you heard them, women of Europe. You can't be anything that you want to be anymore. You have to be, to make these numbers better, you gotta go out there and into the workforce. You gotta be the leaders of a Fortune 500 companies. You can't be a school teacher. Can't be a chef. You can't spend time with your children. You can't do those things anymore. They don't make money. You gotta be equal. Get out there and provide for the equality, goddammit.
It's really crazy that individualism is just dying in this world. It's borderline dead.
Women still make less than men on average in every career field. Violence towards women gets worse with each passing day. The greatest insult to any man is to claim that he is somehow effeminate. Prejudices against gay men are primarily so strong because gay men are perceived as effeminate or less than a man. Feminism will always be relevant, especially when we still have so far to go. 1. Men make more because in most career fields, the majority of the occupants are male, since there are typically more stay-at-home mothers than there are stay-at-home fathers. 2. Violence against women could be helped a little bit if we didn't just accept every refugee, quote-unquote, that walks through our borders. Or, you could take a self-defense class like a lot of guys do. I mean, everybody gets beat up. You might as well be able to defend yourself, right? Und 3, some people like being effeminate. Some people don't. It's all about judgment and opinions. For fuck's sake, you can't have everyone conforming to the same ideal mindset. Holy fucking Christ.
Like I said before, individualism is dying. It is almost gone. People don't want to be themselves anymore. They just want to hear something and go, oh, that sounds like a good idea. I'm going to think like that. And then when you call them out on it going, man, that's not even your own fucking opinion. They'll just go, how do you know? You don't know me. It's like, fucking goddamn, just be yourself. Stop looking and reading at all this bullshit and go, oh, it must be true.
Feminism is needed because females and males are not seen as equals on any platform. The over-sexualization of women's bodies still seen as normal in the mainstream media, and society maintains an incorrect idea of what feminism really is and what it stands for. Until women cease to be used as over-sexualized objects in the media, until all sexes are seen and are treated as equals, feminism will remain relevant and needed. Oh, what was that? I couldn't listen. I couldn't hear myself. I'm just too busy reading this fabulous article. 36 of the greatest summer Olympic bulges. Like, oh my goodness. This is just some quality reading. And I was gonna do another one of those you don't know that you're proving yourself right arguments by acting fucking retarded with those plastic shopping bags that have all those hack guys on the cover of them. But for the life of me, I couldn't find a picture of one, but if you've ever been to a mall anywhere in America and beyond, probably, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about, hopefully.
Hold on one sec, Liberosity. I'm trying to look up a movie to watch tonight. Yeah, this one looks good.
For the same reason why black people aren't slaves anymore, but still need to have anti-racist movements, it's possible to be legally free and still treated like shit. Firstly, blacks and other minorities, they don't have to have anti-racist movements. They just want to for some reason, to, spread awareness for some retarded shit that doesn't matter. This ain't the fucking 60s anymore, people. And yeah, I totally agree with the second thing. It is possible to be legally free. Saudi women aren't technically sold away to slavery. They're just sold away to be married, where their husbands can, rape them, beat them, and whatever the fuck they want to do to them, and it's all right. They have a problem. I don't know. Is there places in America where that kind of shit is legal? I don't know. Someone fucking tell me.
Of course it's possible to be free in America and treated like shit. We're all treated like shit. There's always shit going on with anyone in America. Not everyone has a fucking perfect life. As for the anti-racist movements in America, let's just go with BLM. People that are part of Black Lives Matter, there's only two groups of people that are part of those movements. One, people that are doing it for money, and two, the idiots following the people who are doing it for money.
Free is not a binary condition. There are many levels of freedom and many forms of negativity. Western women may be well off in some ways, but they still have many challenges to face. This is especially true when you consider that Western woman includes women of color, transgender women, lesbian woman, bisexual woman, disabled woman, and many other groups that also face additional societal restrictions.
Ah, the old fake glass ceiling debate. Always a classic.
I'm just curious, what exactly are those societal restrictions? Because I don't really see any guys drink free nights. I don't really see any scholarships that only allow people with a dick between their legs to apply for. As far as I'm concerned, aside from those poor few souls that are actually sold into sexual slavery in the West, all women in the West are equally free. Unless maybe, say, you're married to a Muslim husband who is very strict and adamant about the old ways, You know how first world feminists get told that they don't really need feminism? They're told that they should be glad that they're not really oppressed like women in third world countries, that things could always be worse. You know what my mother tells me? She says I don't need feminism because I should be glad I'm born in an urban city of Pakistan. She says at least I wasn't born in a rural area where girls are married off to men twice their age, that things could always be worse. And our housemaid, Shabana, who was married to her uncle at 15 and at 18 has 2 children, she doesn't even know what feminism is. She was told by her father that she should be glad that her husband doesn't beat her and hasn't thrown tazab at her face, that things could always be worse. Am I the only one seeing a very disturbing pattern here? The literal last person in the world who I would ever think would come to the defense of a Western feminism today would be anybody who has lived under Islamic rule, especially if that anybody was a female. I cannot begin to comprehend the amount of mental gymnastics that it would take for one individual to see something that is, as I've mentioned before, having differently priced deodorants to being legal, having it be legal to beat your wife or your sister or your whatever. It just fucking blows my mind. The number of women in the Western world that need feminism, that truly need feminism, is so microscopic, it might as well be 0. The people who really do need feminism mirror that of Shabana. Not Milo Stewart, not Anita Sarkeesian. It's Mrs. Shabana, whatever the fuck her last name is. She's the one that needs feminism.
I just want to point out one thing that you read, Liberosity.
You know what my mother tells me? She says I don't need feminism because I should be glad I'm born in an urban city of Pakistan. She says at least I wasn't born in a rural area where girls are married off to men twice their age.
See, the definition for rural areas in America are basically areas that are outside of cities and towns, so basically non-urban communities. This person goes on to say that the average age difference for a marriage in those communities are the men are twice as old as women, yet she fails to realize that the average age of married couples in America are 2.3 years, where the man is over 2.3 years older than the woman on average. Fuck, man. What the fuck kind of stats are these people saying nowadays?
Hey Whitey, thanks for letting a little guy like me mooch off all your success you've built up so far. Glad to finally be working with you. Yeah, it's good to be working with someone who finally understands white power. And now with President Trump, it looks like we're only a few short years away from finally, once and for all, wiping out all the other inferior races. Hail Trump and whatnot.
Thanks, man. Fuck. I've actually had people turn down collaborations because they said, hey, your name kind of spooks me out. I don't really want to be a part of that. Literally, I've had emails about that, so I'm just like, fuck. Dude, and also, don't mind the fact that I don't really have that much success here on YouTube. You know, I'm having fun with it, so it doesn't really matter. I've said it before in the past. It doesn't matter how big or small your channel is. I like working with other people. But hey, guys, listen, Liberosity, this was a cool little article that we got to well, he did the reading. I was just doing the replies, and he was doing replies also, which were awesome to listen to. So check out his channel. Link will be in the description below. Click the link, go to his channel, go subscribe. You'll have a really fun time. So that's it. Later, bye. White YouTuber out.
Hey man, thanks again for working with me. And to all you dumb fucks watching, if you like the sound of my stupid voice and like even stupider opinions, please come visit me. Like please, I'm actually a small little Indian boy who only feeds off his ego. So please, I need some more subscriptions. Please.